Welcome to America Reads Fun Learning Activities. We are college students who create fun learning activities for kids. Our fun activities are focused on reading, writing, and math. Thank you for joining us to learn today. My name is Emma, and I'm going to be helping you out today. In today's video, we will be learning how to read stories and then answer questions about the important parts. Alright, so to start off, let's gather our materials. So the first thing you're going to need is a few pieces of plain white paper. You're also going to need a pen or a pencil, scissors, some flour, some blue food coloring, a plastic container, a cup, and put some water in it. And that's what you'll need for our activity. Today we're going to read the story of Nemo and answer questions about it through a fun activity. Let's start by writing out some of the questions for the story. Alright, so first we're going to take one of these papers and we're going to write some of the questions on it. We're actually going to flip our paper this way when we write it so that the strips aren't too big. So flip it going this way, so we're doing hamburger style. Now we're going to write our first question on here. So I'm going to go all the way up at the top and I'm going to write, and you can have a grown-up help you with this. Who tries to help Marlin find Nemo? So this is what mine looked like when I was all done. So now below it, let's move to probably about here, we're going to write, what do the sharks say to Marlin and Dory? So now I've written that second one, so that's what that looks like. And then we're going to move down a little bit and we're going to write our third question, which is, who is Crush? Good job, so that's what that next one looks like. Now we're going to move down a little more and we're going to write the next one, which says, how did Nemo get out of the dentist's office? Good job. And now we're going to write our last one. So we're going to move down one more time. And the last one says, who found Nemo? Good job. So that's what they should all look like. You should be able to see all of them on your page going all the way up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut them into little strips. So what I did is I went ahead and took my scissors and I cut off the top question into a strip like this. So in between that blank space. So now do that with the rest of them so that they all look like this. I'm also going to cut off the end if they're too long. So like right here where the question ends, I'm going to cut this part off so that it's smaller. And I'm going to do that with the rest of them. Okay, so now we're going to put these to the side and we'll come back to those in a second. Now get out your plastic container. So it should look something like this. And we're going to start making our ocean for our activity. So what we're going to do is take some of your flour and pour it into the plastic container. Make sure you have a grown-up help you with this part. Alright, so now my plastic container has flour in it. So now get out your plastic cup that has some water in it and your blue food dye. Now we're going to take our cup that has water in it and our blue food dye, which looks like this or like this, and we're going to put a few drops in here to make the water blue, okay? So we're just going to put it all over it and we're just going to drop some in there until it looks pretty blue. And now let's mix it together. Alright, so I mixed it together and it looks pretty blue to me. So now get your little plastic container with flour out again. Right, so now we're going to take our cup and we're going to very slowly pour a little bit of the water in. And we're just going to mix it as we go. And then we're going to pour a little bit more in and keep mixing until the whole thing turns blue. But just keep it very light. Alright, so when you're done with your little blue ocean, it should look something like this. And now what I'm going to do is I actually made some little fishies on some pieces of paper. So I'm just going to put them in here in my little blue ocean. And you can just make them with markers, colored pencils, whatever you want to do. But make your ocean look a little bit fun. So now get out those strips of paper that we worked with earlier, and you're going to take each one by one and you're going to fold it like that, and then you're just going to tuck it in the ocean. Let the flour cover it. And then you're going to do the same thing for all the other strips. Alright, so now all my strips of paper are in my little container. Alright, so together we're going to read this short story and we're going to base our activity off of that. So this is what the questions we wrote are for. So today we're going to read the story of Finding Nemo. You can pause at any time to keep reading, or you can have a grown-up help you and read this to you too. So let's get started. Finding Nemo. This is a short story from Disney, Finding Nemo. Nemo was a little clownfish who lived a quiet life with his dad, Marlin, on the Great Barrier Reef. Nemo longed for adventure, but Marlin worried about the dangers in the ocean. He barely let Nemo out of his sight. On the first day of school, Marlin overheard Nemo and his new friends daring each other to swim out over a steep cliff. "Come on, Nemo, how far can you go?" his friends shouted. Marlin panicked and said, "Nemo, you know you can't swim well." Nemo replied, "I can swim fine, Dad, okay?" Nemo darted up toward a boat on a surface. As Nemo swam, a diver appeared behind him. The diver pulled out a net and caught Nemo. Then he returned to his boat and sped off, accidentally knocking one of his masks overboard. Marlin chased after the boat, but it was too fast. Marlin soon bumped into a blue tangfish named Dory, who offered to help. "I've seen that boat, and it went this way. Follow me," Dory said. When Marlin followed, Dory whirled around. Marlin started following Dory when suddenly Dory said, "Stop following me." On this, Marlin said, "You promised me to show the way where the boat went." Dory looked surprised, then shook her head sadly and told him that she had been suffering from short-term memory loss. Figuring Dory couldn't help him, Marlin turned to leave and found himself face to face with a shark. The shark invited Dory and Marlin to a get-together at an old sunken ship. Inside the ship were two other sharks, and together they pledged, "Fish are friends, not food." As they spoke, Marlin looked up and saw the diver's mask. Dory noticed some writing on the scrap. It might be a clue to help them in finding Nemo. Marlin and Dory quickly left the party carrying the mask. Miles away, Nemo had been taken to a dentist's office. A goofy gang of tropical fish lived there. Deep in the ocean, Dory and Marlin were in a dark canyon. Soon, they were surrounded by an entire forest of deadly jellyfish. The jellyfish stung Dory and Marlin too, making them feel weak and tired. As the ocean faded around him, the last thing Marlin saw was the shadow of a giant sea turtle. When Marlin woke up, he was lying on the sea turtle's shell. The turtle introduced himself. "Dude, name's Crush." Marlin swam out to sea, leaving Dory. He said, "We were too late. I'm going home now." After Marlin left, Nemo swam out of a nearby pipe. He had been flushed. Nemo spotted Dory swimming in circles and introduced himself. Dory hugged him happily. Several weeks later, Nemo was back home and ready for school. This time, Marlin was ready too. He knew that his son could take care of himself. Nemo waved as he swam away. He swam back and hugged Marlin and said, "Love you, Dad." Marlin smiled and said, "Love you too, son. Now go, have an adventure." So now, let's get one of our questions out of the container and answer it. So let's just dig our hands in and see which one we find first. So this is the first one that I found. And it says, "Who tries to help Marlin find Nemo?" So think about that for a second. Dory! Right, good job. The answer is Dory. In the beginning of the story, Dory tries to help Marlin find Nemo. Good job. So let's get our second one out of here. Alright, this one says, "What do the sharks say to Marlin and Dory?" So think about that for a second. "Fish are friends, not food." Good job. Yes, that's exactly what they say. So let's get another one out. How did Nemo get out of the dentist's office? Good job. He got flushed. He got flushed down the toilet. Good job. Let's do our next two. Who is Crush? Good job. He's the sea turtle that helps Marlin and Dory when they get stung by a jellyfish. Good job. So now let's look for our last one. Who found Nemo? Dory, right. Good job. Good job today, and I hope you enjoyed our little blue ocean that we made. Thank you for learning with us today. We hope you come back and learn some more soon. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll be back soon with more fun educational videos.